You heard the tick-tick sound coming from this motherboard. This is the Panasonic outdoor motherboard. Two power relays are installed in this motherboard. This one and this one. This relay is sometimes turning on and off, due to which this unusual sound is made in this air conditioner motherboard. This motherboard was not even powered on before. An F90 error was shown on its display. I changed both the bridge rectifier, the IGBT, I also changed its IPM too. Other than this, I changed the smaller components like resistors etc. Due to changing these components, it powered on, but started making this unusual ticking sound. Now I am checking the voltages of the relay. I have turned on the motherboard. You can see that voltage is fluctuating. The voltages are increasing and decreasing, which is making the relay to turn on and off. This means this motherboard could have 3 to 4 possible faults. The component in the motherboard which controls this relay is this ULN 2003 Darlington Array IC. This Darlington IC is controlled by the microcontroller. Now the first thing in my mind came was that I should change this Darlington IC. Because if any logics inside the Darlington array are problematic or corrupted, this is possible that the relay may be turning on and off and causing this unusual behavior due to the Darlington array. I did changed it with a new Darlington IC. After changing this IC, the motherboard is still making the same problem. The next possible fault I am thinking about is that its SMPS circuit could be problematic. As the switching IC is installed over here, the electricity passes from the chopper towards the low side of the circuit. Capacitors are installed on the low side. A couple of diodes are installed here. Resistors are also installed. If any of these things get faulty, it could cause this problem, especially when these capacitors are bad. Now let's check the motherboard from the bottom side and check why the relay is working unusually. Now a very strange and funny thing has happened while I was working off the camera on this motherboard, and I was checking the SMPS circuit. Now I will pass electricity through the motherboard. The electricity has passed through the motherboard. The first relay of the motherboard has turned on and also the second relay, which means this motherboard has started to work properly. But in meanwhile, its relay starts to make the same problem again. I will not leave this motherboard in this situation. We all together will find its fault, and will finalize that are we able to fix this problem. Now I place the probes on one number pin of the chopper, and the other pin on switching IC input. I was checking the voltages on these pins. 298 volts are passing through these pins, and while checking these voltages, the motherboard started to work properly. I will check this motherboard further. Now I have changed its switching IC. I will check the low side of this motherboard to find out whether it has any issues or not. Let me tell you the story of what fault I have found. And I found this fault while working off the camera on this motherboard. I didn't change the switching IC now. I changed it when the motherboard was making the ticking sound. But the problem was not finished by changing it. And as I told you, while checking the chopper, it suddenly stopped making the problem. Now when I was checking the low side of this motherboard, an optocoupler is installed here. This gives feedback to the switching IC. The switching IC turns on when it receives feedback from the optocoupler. Otherwise, it does not turn on. 3 to 4 resistors are installed here. Different voltages pass through these resistors. This small resistor is 1 kilo ohm. It showed 12 kilo ohms on the multimeter off the camera. The emitting diode of the optocoupler was not turning on. It sometimes turned on and sometimes turned off. The transistor on the other 2 pins was also turning on and off, making the switching IC also problematic. I will change this resistor and check this motherboard. I have replaced the bad 1 kilo ohms resistor. Now the motherboard has been fixed, let me turn it on. Now I have tested the motherboard for an hour. It didn't make the ticking sound from the relay as it did sometimes before. Now I have successfully found the problem and fixed the motherboard. Click on the left or right thumbnail to watch our next videos. And subscribe. It's free. Thank you.